Welcome back, tennis fans and sports enthusiasts from around the globe, to another massive update that completely reshaped the landscape of the 2026 Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open. If you are just tuning in, prepare yourselves, because what we have just witnessed on the indoor clay court of Linz is nothing short of a defining, era-shifting moment in women's tennis. An entire nation, packed into the arena with roaring expectations, has been left in absolute, deafening silence. Austria's very own hometown hero, the fiercely competitive Julia Grabher, has been dramatically sent packing in the opening round, and the architect of the stunning disruption, none other than the 20-year-old Filipina sensation, Alexandra Eala. Right out of the gate, we need to talk about the absolute magnitude of this victory. We are not just talking about a simple first-round win at WTA 500 event. We are talking about a statement. We are talking about a 20-year-old walking into the lion's den, facing down an experienced 29-year-old veteran who had the backing of every single local fan in that stadium and completely dismantling the hometown narrative. The final scoreline reads 6-4, 6-3 in favor of Eala, but those numbers do not even begin to tell the story of the psychological warfare, the grueling baseline rallies, and the sheer, unadulterated willpower that was on display for 1 hour and 42 minutes. Grabher threw absolutely everything she had at the young Filipina. She pushed, she pulled, she brought the crowd into the match, but Eala stood like an impenetrable fortress. This is the kind of news that sends shockwaves through the locker room. When a young player like Alexandra Eala, currently sitting at a career-high ranking of 46 in the world, comes into a foreign country, stepping onto an indoor clay court for her tournament debut, and commands the space with such absolute authority, the rest of the tour takes notice. The Austrian fans came expecting a coronation of their local star, hoping to see Grabher, currently ranked 89th after a gritty climb back up the rankings, finally secure a main draw win at this prestigious event. Instead, they were treated to a masterclass in mental fortitude by the pride of the Philippines. Eala did not just beat Grabher. She weathered a storm of 10 break points, saving 9 of them with the kind of ice-cold composure you usually only see in multiple-time Grand Slam champions. And why is this so significant? Because it sets up a blockbuster, absolute must-watch second-round clash that has the entire tennis world buzzing. Alexandra Eala is now moving on to face the number 4 seed, the former Grand Slam champion, the famously aggressive and unpredictable Ostapenko. We have a matchup of explosive power versus tactical brilliance, a rematch of 2 incredible encounters from last year where Eala shockingly emerged victorious both times. The narrative is writing itself. The young disruptor is looking to solidify her dominance over an established titan of the sport. We're going to dive deep into exactly how Eala broke down Grabher's defenses today, the incredible statistics behind her clutch performance, what this means for the trajectory of Philippine tennis, and exactly what we can expect when she steps onto the court against Ostapenko. Let us set the scene. The design center in Linz was electrified. The atmosphere was thick with national pride. Indoor clay is a highly specific, highly demanding surface. It requires the slide and tactical nuance of traditional clay, but the indoor conditions mean there is no wind, no sun to battle, allowing for pure, unadulterated ball striking. Grabher, an Austrian native, knows these conditions. She thrives on the energy of her people. But from the moment the first ball was struck, it became abundantly clear that Alexandra Eala was not there to play a supporting role in someone else's story. She was there to write her own. Grabher came out swinging, applying immense pressure to Eala's serve, trying to break the 20-year-old spirit early. But Eala, a left-hander with a beautifully disguised forehand and a relentlessly consistent backhand, refused to blink. The significance of this result reverberates far beyond the borders of Austria. For the Philippines, a nation that treats its sporting heroes with a level of passion that is practically unmatched globally, Alexandra Eala is rapidly becoming a monolithic figure. Every forehand she hits, every break point she saves, carries the weight and the hopes of millions of Filipinos. She is not just playing for ranking points or prize money. She is pioneering a path. And today, by taking down the local favorite in such a hostile environment, she proved that she has the emotional maturity to handle the brightest, most unforgiving spotlights the WTA Tour has to offer. The Austrian crowd tried to carry their player over the finish line, but Eala's resilience was the brick wall they crashed into. Now, Let's transition into the core of this match and dissect exactly how this incredible upset was engineered. To truly understand how Alexandra Eala sent Julia Grabher packing in straight sets, we must look beyond the final scoreline of 6-4, 6-3, and examine the microscopic battles that took place within those 102 minutes of play. This match was won and lost in the trenches of the pressure points. Let us analyze the first set, which lasted nearly an hour and was an absolute crucible of tension. The set remained on serve, but a phrase on serve does a massive disservice to how violently contested those games were. Eala was forced to work for every single inch of territory. In 3 of her 5 service games in that opening set, Eala stared down the barrel of break points. The Austrian crowd was on its feet, roaring with every unforced error, trying to manifest a break of serve for Grabher. The 7th game of the first set alone was an absolute marathon, featuring 7 agonizing deuces. 7 times the score returned to 40-all. 7 times the momentum hung perfectly in the balance. In a situation like that, against a seasoned opponent on home soil, a younger, less experienced player would almost certainly crumble. They would rush a second serve. They would overhit a forehand out of sheer panic. But not Alex Eala. She utilized her left-handed advantage brilliantly, slicing her serve out wide on the ad court to pull Grabher off the baseline, opening up the court for a punishing first strike. She held her nerve. She saved those break points. And that, my friends, is where the psychological tide of the match began to turn. When a player like Grabher works that hard, creates that many opportunities, and continually comes up empty-handed, it creates a lingering, suffocating frustration. Eala built a dam, and Grabher exhausted herself trying to break it. Then came the 10th game, the decisive moment. With Grabher serving to stay in the set at 4-5, the pressure finally shifted. Eala, who had been playing defense on her own serve for an hour, suddenly flipped the switch and went on the attack. She earned a set point. Grabher, showing her own grit, saved it and even managed to fire off an ace to earn a game point. But Eala's cross-court forehand, a weapon that has been heavily refined over the past year, found its mark, creating another opportunity. And finally, the pressure caused Grabher crack. She sent a ball wide, and just like that, the first set belonged to the Philippines, 6-4. The air was sucked completely out of the arena in Linz. Moving into the second set, we saw a tactical shift. Having secured the emotional victory of the first set, Eala came out with a looser, more aggressive swing. The heavy lifting was done. Now it was time to close the door. She broke Grabher's serve in the 4th game, converting on her second break point to surge ahead to a commanding 3-1 lead. She fought off 2 more desperate breakback attempts from the Austrian to extend her lead to 4-1. Now, we must give credit to Julia Grabher. She is a fighter. Down 4-1, facing a humiliating defeat in front of her family and friends, she dug deep. She finally managed to breach Eala's defenses in the 7th game, securing a break to cut the deficit to 4-3. The crowd erupted. Suddenly, there was a glimmer of hope. Could the hometown hero stage a miraculous comeback? The answer was a resounding, emphatic no. Champions do not let momentum slip away. True competitors respond to a threat by immediately raising their level, and that is exactly what Eala did. She did not panic. She did not dwell on the broken serve. She walked right back out onto the clay and broke Grabher in the very next game to go up 5-3, silencing the crowd once again. Serving for the match, Eala was absolutely clinical. She constructed the points with veteran precision, forcing a forehand error from Grabher to set up double match point. Moments later, another wide shot from the Austrian signaled the end. Game, set, match, Alexandra Eala. Let us talk about the statistics, because the numbers here are absolutely staggering, and they tell a story of sheer clutch performance. Grabher generated 10 breakpoint opportunities throughout the match. 10. If you look at any standard tennis metric, if a player generates 10 breakpoints, they usually win the match. But Grabher converted only 1 of them. A 10% success rate on breakpoints is a recipe for disaster. On the other side of the net, Eala was ruthlessly efficient. She created 7 breakpoint opportunities and converted 3 of them, a 42% success rate. When the margins are tight, it is not about how many chances you create. It is about what you do with the chances you have. Eala was a stone-cold killer on the big points. Furthermore, let's analyze the serve. Eala landed roughly 60% of her first serves, but when she got that first serve in, she won 68% of those points. She protected her second serve brilliantly, winning over 60% of her second serve points in the second set, effectively neutralizing Grabher's return game. The Austrian, conversely, struggled immensely, coughing up untimely double faults and failing to dictate play on her own terms. This match is also a continuation of a devastating trend for Julia Grabher at this specific tournament. With this loss, the Austrian is now 0-6 at the WTA 500 event in Linz. The mental block of playing at home, the desperate desire to perform for her country, seems to have created a paralyzing pressure that she simply cannot overcome. Conversely, for Alexandra Eala, this debut in Linz is nothing short of spectacular. After a brutal, taxing schedule that saw her making deep runs in Indian Wells and Miami just a few weeks prior, she has transitioned onto the indoor clay with phenomenal grace. She spoke after the match, praising the host city, thanking the fans, and noting how welcome she felt by the local Filipino community that showed up to support her. "I kept the intensity well throughout the match," she noted in her post-match interview. "She's a very intense player and has really good shots, so I'm really happy with the win." That quote alone shows a grounded, professional mindset of a player who is rapidly maturing from a teenage prodigy into a legitimate tour-level threat. But the celebration must be brief, because looming on the horizon, waiting in the round of 16, is a challenge of entirely different proportions. Alexandra Eala must now prepare to face the number 4 seed of the tournament, the world number 23, Jelena Ostapenko. If Julia Grabher was a test of Eala's defensive resilience, Jelena Ostapenko will be a test of her sheer survival instincts. Ostapenko, a former Roland Garros champion, hits the ball harder than almost anyone on the WTA Tour. She plays high-risk, high-reward, aggressive, first-strike tennis. She does not want to rally. She wants to hit clean winners off both wings. Ostapenko received a first-round bye as a seeded player, meaning she will be fresh, rested, and ready to unleash her firepower. However, if you look at the history books, this matchup holds a fascinating, almost unbelievable secret. Alexandra Eala holds a 2-0 head-to-head record against Jelena Ostapenko. You heard that right. The 20-year-old Filipina has beaten the Latvian powerhouse twice, and both of those victories came just last year, in 2025. Eala dismantled Ostapenko in straight sets on the hard courts of the Miami Open, and then proved it was no fluke by defeating her again in a thrilling 3-set battle on the grass courts of the Eastbourne International. What does this tell us? It tells us that Eala has the exact tactical blueprint required to neutralize Ostapenko's overwhelming pace. Eala's left-handed angles, her ability to absorb pace and redirect it down the line, and her elite court coverage frustrate players who rely solely on power. Ostapenko thrives when players feed her rhythm. Eala, with her varied spin and incredible defense, denies her that rhythm. This upcoming match is not just a second-round fixture. It is a proving ground. If Eala can secure a third consecutive victory over a player of Ostapenko's caliber on a third different surface, moving from hard court to grass to indoor clay, it will cement her status not just as a rising star, but as an elite competitor capable of beating the very best in the world, anywhere, at any time. The Linz Open has suddenly become the epicenter of the tennis world, and all eyes will be watching to see if the young Filipina can continue her giant-slaying run. As we wrap up today's extensive coverage of this monumental upset at the 2026 Linz Open, we have to take a step back and appreciate the broader narrative unfolding before our eyes. We are witnessing the evolution of Alexandra Eala, from her days as a junior champion, carrying the incredible, heavy expectations of a tennis-crazed, sports-loving nation, to a polished, formidable force on the professional circuit. Sending Julia Grabher home in straight sets in her own backyard is a rite of passage. It is the moment a player announces to the locker room that they are no longer just a talented prospect. They are a clear and present danger to the established hierarchy. The indoor clay of Austria has been conquered, but the war is far from over. The impending clash with Jelena Ostapenko is a kind of stylistic matchup that tennis purists dream of. Power versus precision. Unpredictable aggression versus calculated, left-handed defense. Eala has a psychological edge with that flawless 2-0 head-to-head record. But Ostapenko will be desperate for revenge. She will step onto that court looking to bulldoze the 20-year-old Filipina and erase the memories of Miami and Eastbourne. Can Eala absorb that heavy, relentless artillery? Can she maintain the incredible serving statistics and the breakpoint composure she displayed today against Grabher? This is what makes the sport so incredibly captivating. The storylines are unscripted, the drama is visceral, and the margins between victory and defeat are razor thin. For the Philippines, the excitement is palpable. A whole nation will be setting their alarms, tuning in and watching with bated breath as their young star steps back into the arena. Eala has already made history just by being the first Filipino player to compete in the main draw in Linz. Now, she is looking to rewrite the tournament's history books completely. I want to hear your thoughts on this match. Did you expect Alexandra Eala to display this level of mental toughness against a hometown favorite? How do you rate her chances against the sheer power of Ostapenko in the next round? Drop your analysis, your predictions, and your thoughts down in the comments section below. I read every single one of them. If you appreciate this level of deep dive, tactical tennis analysis, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like on the video. It helps the channel grow and ensures you never miss out on our comprehensive coverage of the WTA and ATP tours. The 2026 season is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable and exciting years in recent memory, and we will be here to break down every single shocking upset, every masterful performance, and every championship point. Thank you so much for watching. Keep your eyes on the courts, and I will see you in the next breakdown.